Bye.
Your co-host Javier Vicuna.
Well, welcome back, everyone. It's so good to be back. I know we haven't been live for a little bit with Javier, but we're so excited for today's show. It's an interesting one, very different from what we've done before. As we all, come back from the holidays, I know we had a wonderful week off with Javier and the team, which was awesome. But it's always important to remember that we're still in a pandemic, and there is that still going on today, and a lot of people traveled. We got to see family, which is awesome. I know we've been stuck for almost 2 years without family. However, we're going to be giving updates about COVID-19, and because in Marin the cases are going really high, so we just want to make sure all of you guys are aware about that and what you guys can do, what options you guys have. And then we're going to talk about recent changes in the digital world, which Javier and I are really excited to talk about. But first, I want to ask Javier, just to kind of get us into the conversation. Recently, I had a big aha moment when I was thinking about watching movies, and then I was realizing, I went on Google and I searched up movies that are coming out today, and I saw that some were in theaters and then some were on demand. And I wanted to ask you, I asked our Instagram followers as well, what do you prefer? Watching a movie being released at the movie theaters or watching it at home?
Uh, that's a great question. I actually prefer to just watch it in theaters. I mean, I watched my first movie in theaters, uh, 2 weeks ago. Whenever Spider-Man came out, I watched it opening weekend. And it was a really great time to be in the theater again because I need to be in the theater experience. Like I need to be inside of a theater, and I also like love the sound. The sound sounds so good in the theater than if you're just watching it with some headphones and on your phone or on your computer. Like it's just not the same. Like I need to have my popcorn. I need to have everything with me to feel
That's
like
so
I'm watching the movie. It immerses me more.
Yeah, I totally understand. Well, a lot of people, said at home, at home. I'm reading the replies on Instagram, and some said theaters. And then I love one who said at my home with at least two blankets. And I related to that, but I'm also a big fan of watching in the big screen, especially if the sound, especially that you're in the sound, the sound industry and all that. So going to the movie theater is just hearing, everything, so you can hear things, the sound effects. I think is so cool. I did watch Spider-Man. I watched it twice, and it was a really good movie. So far, like what's a movie that's been recent that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, so I mean the most recent movie that I watched actually what was Spider-Man, but I watched Sing 2 with my younger uh relatives. Um and it was and
Oh,
we actually watched that movie on our like on a phone. We didn't watch it on like on a at the theater or anything like that.
uh-huh.
And it was interesting. I mean it's a kids movie, but it was cool. I like the music, like the music choices that they had. Um and yeah, I mean it was a cute film. But honestly, Spider-Man blew me away. Like that movie was wowzers. It was there was a lot of hype surrounding that movie, and it really did live up to the hype. Like wow. Like I'm super excited for what Marvel does next with the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah, I'm a big MCU fan, and ever since we were kids. And funny story, I have two younger brothers, and they're obsessed with Spider-Man. I don't know what it is about Spider-Man, but when we went to go watch the theaters with the movie in the theater with my family, I it made me laugh because when I don't want to spoil anything, but at one point in the movie, a lot of people were like tearing so much, and it just reminded me of my mom. She was sitting next to me, and she was like me and when we were kids. She got so excited. With that being said, though, there is one movie that I watched recently, and it's called Ready Player One. This came out into 2018. It's a sci-fi fiction film,
Mm-hmm.
but I never, my brother encouraged me to watch it, and we watched it together, and I was blown away because it connects with what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started on that, we're going to give a little updates on the Omicron variant, and what you need to know, and the current events with testing, where you can get testing kits and where you can get
Yeah,
tested
get
and get
texted for the COVID.
and get the vaccine booster. So the top symptoms that have been, that they surveyed and kind of did not surveyed, tested, and studies on it, is that you'll get, it's kind of like a cold, runny nose, headache, fatigue, sneezing, sore throat. Those are the main ones that are the symptoms, but highly encouraged right now to stay home in quarantine for at least 5 full days if you test positive, and get tested right away. And even if you are vaccinated, I know there's a lot of controversial things with vaccination right now. The only thing that we've really talked about with my family is, even if it's not COVID, just stay home when you're sick, right? Just stay home, because we're very fortunate for me and my family that, if we get sick, we have the option, to be home and work from home. But unfortunately, not a lot of families are privileged to have that. So if they don't go to work, they don't get paid, and then they can put food on the table sometimes, or shelter over, their family. So it's really important to just stay home if you're sick, right? Just for the safety of others and safety for yourself as well.
Yeah, it's a very good rule to follow.
Yeah. And then just wear masks at all time. I know we've had, again, no masks. Yeah. Yes, mask. To be honest, that has been going on over and over, but I've just been wearing my mask at all times. When I'm at the store, when I go out, I've been fully wearing my masks, even with the mandates that I have been putting on. With that being said, if you do travel, you can, of course, quarantine. But then what happens if you come back from a travel and you want to get tested? With that, I'm going to hand it off to Javier, who will give us more information about where to get tested and how to get tested.
Yeah, so thank you, Santy. As a lot of you may already know, it's very hard to get a COVID test right now. It's impossibly hard. And I understand, because I was trying to get a COVID test after December, like at the start of the new year, which is last week. And oh my goodness, it was so stressful to look for a test, because everything was filled up, or everything was available till the week after. So with that said, though, I do still want to give you guys some resources as to where you can get these tests, because it's important. So the website that I recommend to go to is coronavirus.marinhhs.org/testing. If Santy could do me the favor, actually, of putting that link in the chat. That is a great website to just look for testing sites that work with your insurance, or if you're uninsured, which is very important. And also, the two best places that I found from that website, especially for those who don't have insurance, the best place to get tested, always been reliable and has always been very good at communicating, is LHI and Creative. I got my vaccine through Creative. I haven't done their testing, but I've heard very, very good feedback from my friends who had gotten a test from Creative, which is it's good to know. And also LHI is where I usually get my COVID test done from, and they're really quick, and they're very efficient with everything. So I would definitely recommend LHI or Creative as your choice, especially if you don't have insurance, because they accept people who are uninsured. Because it's important to go to a good place that will actually get your that's approved and has good feedback. Because recently, last week, when I couldn't find an appointment for this week or the week before, I had to go to this website called covidclinic.org, something like that. Worst experience ever. Do not go to covidclinic.org.com. Anything that says COVID clinic, avoid it. avoid it. I had a very bad experience. I mean, there's a lot of appointments, but that's for a good reason, because they suck. They're terrible. They made me wait. My appointment was for 1:30. And I got there a little earlier because that's usually how I like doing it, just so that I can, be in line and everything. The line was huge. And not only that, people kept complaining about how the place was terrible and whatever. And I was like, it can't be that bad, right? And then they made me wait. Like they checked me in and they're like, okay, yeah, you're here for 1:30. Okay. They checked me in, and when I got my COVID test done, I got it done an hour after. So at 2:30, I got my COVID test done, which is ridiculous. You should not be waiting an hour outside near a bunch of whole other people who need to get this test done. It's just unsafe. It's very badly planned on their end. And the best part, the cherry on top, is that I got an email today, actually, from that test that they lost my test. So I can't even get the results from that test that I did. So it was a huge waste of time. Again, do not recommend COVID Clinic. Go to LHI or Creative. I know it's probably going to be really hard to find an appointment there that's soon. But I do have a solution for certain people if you are looking for for a rapid test. So the Multicultural Center of Marin, starting next week, is going to be rolling out rapid take-home at test COVID tests for you to take. So these are only going to be offered to elderly individuals, essential workers that need to get back to work, and or your child who needs to go back to school. And we understand that it's hard to find an appointment, so this is why the Multicultural Center of Marin has set this up. And to find out where and when you can pick these rapid tests up, you can call the Multicultural Center of Marin at 415-526-2486. And there will be multiple locations for where you can pick these up. But again, just call them at 415-526-2486 for more information. You could also visit the Multicultural Marin website. And again, these are only for children, essential workers, and the elderly. But yeah, they are. I ended up being able to get a rapid test through them, and it worked wonderfully. And it's very accurate. It only takes 15 minutes for it to display a result. And I couldn't recommend it less. Another thing that I should also mention is vaccination. I think it's more than ever more important to get vaccinated right now, just because there's just so many COVID cases here in Marin County right now. And if you're looking to get vaccinated or get a booster shot, you can go to myturncalifornia.com or to myturnca.com to make an appointment. And I personally got my booster shot at the Northgate Mall. Some of you may have seen that, where at the Northgate Mall they have like this like table set up at like the Victoria's Secret. That's where I got my booster shot on Wednesday of this week. And you can find more information about getting a vaccine through their pop-up clinic at the Northgate Mall at, again, coronavirus.marinhhs.org/vaccine finder. You'll find different locations there, but that's where I got to book my appointment at for the Northgate Mall. There's also different times. And as for the booster shot, it went well, but it definitely made me feel terrible the day after. I don't know, the ever since the first shot didn't do anything for me, but the next two shots have just been absolutely miserable. But I'm feeling a lot better today, so it really was only like a day worth of like symptoms, but now I'm good. So yeah, I'm really happy to get the booster shot. There's plenty of appointments actually available for the booster shot if you're looking to do that, and also just normal vaccines, which I still highly recommend you do if you haven't been vaccinated yet. And yeah, that's kind of it from me. But before we start delving into the all the metaverse, NFTs, all this digital space stuff that's going on in our world right now, we're going to play a quick PSA and we'll be right back.
CDC is working to help keep you and your community safe from the threat of a new coronavirus. There are steps you can take now to get ready if an outbreak occurs in your community. Make a household plan, learn how to prepare and take quick action if someone gets sick. Older adults and people with chronic medical conditions are at greater risk. Take extra steps to protect them. Think about what you will do if there are changes to your work schedule. Remember to always practice good, healthy habits such as frequently washing hands with soap and water, staying home when sick, and covering coughs and sneezes. For more information, visit cdc.gov.
Welcome back. Well, thank you so much for all the good information, Javier. As always, I encourage people to do your research. Don't just listen to us. Go do your research and do what's best for you. Everybody's not the same, so just do your research. And yeah, speaking of research, I had a lot of fun researching about NFTs and the metaverse. This is a concept that I think Javier mentioned that it's been on social media for quite a while, and I honestly had no idea. And I just knew that, Meta, the rebranding Meta, but I never really understood Metaverse. And then the NFTs, which I heard a little bit about from a friend. And when I did the research, I realized that this is what he was talking about, and I didn't understand what he was talking about. But NFTs, basically, NFT stands for non-fungible token. And I'm going to really focus on breaking down those three words. Well, non, and then fungible basically means non-replaceable. So non-replaceable token. And token is basically, the way I thought about it when I heard of token, I thought of video games. When you play a video game, like you have those little coins kind of roaming around. I think of Mario, Mario, and you like on the little cart, and you get the coins.
Yeah.
That's kind of what token came in my head. And it's kind of, from my understanding, that's kind of what I got. And it's, your money is basically a number on a screen, really, right? So to me, just researching this was so interesting, because the way non-fungible or the NFTs work is that, think about it this way. Let's say the Mona Lisa, right? Is that the artwork? That's the name, right?
Yeah.
It's an original artwork. So you have multiple replicas of it, right? You've seen it digitally. You've seen a lot of people print it for money, et cetera, et cetera. However, there's only one of that painting, right? There's only one. So the point of the NFTs, it's digital art online. So there's basically one of that artwork, and what's being done with that is it's just artwork that's being sold for millions of dollars and thousands of dollars too. But all of this is basically run by blockchain. But before I explain blockchain, I kind of want to give an example of what has been going on. So for example, the NBA has been selling videos on NFTs, and they've made around over $200 million on selling NFTs, which was interesting. But there was a tweet, and there was a JPEG that was, I think the JPEG was sold for $69 million, and it's a tweet. And it's
Wow.
And so when you think about this, you're like, wait, how does that work? So I'm going to do my best. So bear with me, because this is all so much. But basically what you do is, let's say you have, so in the traditional world of money, you will have, let's say, when you make a purchase, you have your card, right? So I'm going to do an example. You have your card, and then when you want to pay, you swipe your card, right? Let's say you want to buy, I'm going to take an example of the video I watched. You have 3 pizzas, and those 3 pizzas are worth $6, right? So you pay with your card, but the way that works is the swiping your card is, that information is being sent to your bank, and your bank sees how much money you have. And if you have that much money, if you have enough money, then it will charge, and it basically will send that money to the other person's bank account, right? And accept it. So that's how the traditional money works. But with NFTs, what's interesting about the artworks being sold on there is that the blockchain does what the bank does. It translates all of the records, but it keeps it public, right? It's a public record. So anything that's going on there, you can see. And so it does the basic thing. But what's interesting about blockchain is it doesn't care about the context of what's being sold. So for a lot of people, I know I asked on Instagram about, you know, NFTs, and a lot of people said it was profitable. A lot of people said that it's a little risky, like sketchy. And the reason why people think it's sketchy, it's because the blockchain doesn't really care about the context of what's being sold. Like you have to see if whether the person is actually the original artist. All the blockchain cares about is how much money or how much tokens you have, and you have enough tokens to buy that artwork, which is insane. And a lot of the artworks being sold, it really has no, to me, it's like a lot of them don't make sense. But really the logic of it is that I saw someone post and really talk about this psychologically, is that before, a lot of people got excited of physical things, but now the value is turned to more psychological hype, psychological value. So it's crazy how if one person think, let's say, I'm going to put this is where a little post-it, if a lot of people say, oh, that's worth so much, people will believe it, and people will really, you know, do all that and really put money, buy this for like $6 million, $10 million, which is crazy. Anyways, that's a little bit of NFTs that I've understand, and there's a lot more that I need to do research on, but it is a way a lot of people are making money and connecting with that. Like I told Javier, this is kind of, you're not even handling money, physical money here. It's just, you know, it's all digital, and it's crazy how that's turning out. But yeah, that's a little bit of my research. If you have any questions, Javier, I'll do my best to answer.
You know, so I understand a little bit about NFTs, but again, like you kind of mentioned, they're kind of seen like in a negative light right now, because I think just a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that not a lot of people know how it fully understands. So it just turns into people wanting to, you know, make very fast money. But I also understand like the side of NFTs where it can create like for artists, like for music artists and just artists in general who actually have good art and are not just trying to scam people, because then it gives their art so much value, and I think it's a very good step in that regards. But when it comes to like scamming people and just, you know, trying to make a profit out of it, I think that's a little scummy. But yeah, I just, now moving forward from NFTs, the metaverse. So there's been this talk about the metaverse recently, due to Mark Zuckerberg, who you might know as the creator of Facebook, giving out a really long, hour-long presentation on October 28th, 2021, where he basically shows off everything about his vision for this digital world where people can, you know, socialize and work and be together without actually being next to each other. Like it's very crazy, but it's interesting, and I have some thoughts on it. But just to give like a brief summary of everything, Zuckerberg started off the presentation by saying that apps such as Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram will now be all connected under one single company called Meta, and so prior, it was just said that like Instagram was owned by Facebook and WhatsApp was owned by Facebook, but now everything's owned by Meta. So it's just like a rebrand of Facebook there. And Zuckerberg reveals that his goal with the metaverse is to have people interact with each other as if they were, again, like right next to each other in person, but they would be interacting in a fully virtual space. Now you may be asking like, okay, so how are we going to interact in this virtual space then? Well, that's where virtual reality headsets and augmented reality glasses come into play. Virtual reality headsets, you may have seen, they're a very popular item for Christmas last year. You might know of the Oculus Quest 2. So a virtual reality headset is basically, you know, you put it on your face, it's like a headset, and it goes over you strap it onto your head and everything, and it basically, it makes you feel like you're in a virtual space. Like it's like 3D taken to the next level, because you can actually interact with everything around you. And you use these two controllers that come with the headset to like move around and to like move your hands around, so it detects everything. It's very, very cool technology. So that's one of the ways that they're going to implement the metaverse. But also they're currently working on a very and an even better VR headset than the Quest 2 that can detect your facial expressions fully, to make it even more realistic. So that's in the works, but that's going to be very premium from what was told in the presentation. So it's not going to be cheap. So there's also AR glasses. AR glasses are, again, like, they look like prescription glasses, but they have a lens to it. The lens can display kind of like hologram like objects around you. So like, let's say you put on the augmented reality glasses, and then all of a sudden, like, you can see like a dragon being like hologrammed out in your room or something like that, or a table that you can like virtually interact with. It's all very, you got to try it to believe it, is my recommendation for the AR and VR headsets. But honestly, my overall thoughts on the metaverse and trying to push for a more technological future is that, I feel like it can be a very good thing for people who are maybe just like interacting with their friends, and if they can't see them in person, well, they can see them in the metaverse. But Santy, is there anything that you wanted to say about the metaverse?
Yeah, so I actually watched I watched a little bit of the 1 hour long, and I quote what Mark Zuckerberg said, and he said, the experience you'll have, the creative community will all build, the tech that needs to be invented, and how we'll all do it together. And then he went on and talked about, I thought the very beginning of his presentation broke down a lot of things that are very interesting to me when he talked about technology, how everything started from text, right? Like sending messages, emails, everything. And then it transitioned to having phones, and that brought the idea of photos, right? The opportunity to be able to share photos. And then now he mentions how video is the main way we experience content.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me kind of said, oh, wow, it's true. And one thing about our generation that I've really been fascinated by is just how we've kind of are in the middle. We've seen like a little bit of the past, and then we're seeing the present and the future of technology, right? I feel like I've been able to see both worlds. And so when he talked at the new experiences to be in the experience to wait,
yeah,
hold on a second.
Yeah, you got it.
The new experience is going to be in the virtual reality, and it's going to be the experience of feeling more natural things. And that to me stuck out a lot, because I don't think you can replace one-on-one conversations with actually having someone here. However, I think it's a very big jump in advance in technology, and I absolutely think that there is good use to this. However, when he talked about really connecting people, I feel like all we're doing is, in my personal perspective or lens, I feel like we're already so divided with if we really think about it. If you put a youth in front of a lot of adults or stuff, I'm not saying everybody, but it's really hard for people to make conversations. Not even just the youth, adults nowadays. It's really hard to make conversations with your peers, with your parents, with your family.
Right.
And with this metaverse, I feel like, oh yeah, it will be a lot harder too. You're taking a lot of the disconnection from the natural of having a one-on-one. We're talking on Zoom, and we've talked about this with the Tay team. Yeah, we're on Zoom and we can see each other, but it's just a whole different experience when we're all together, when we see each other. And to me, at least, I'm that type of person who really values real experiences. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. Unfortunately, we're actually out of time, but thank you so much, Santy, for presenting and giving out your thoughts on the metaverse. I think for people who are lonely, it'll affect them. It's very interesting, because social media really can be a negative or a positive thing for people. And same with the metaverse. It could be either a positive or negative thing for other people. But other than that, We hope that you enjoyed today's show. Everyone, thank you for watching. We'll catch you guys next week, and take care.